Chair Patel there.
I
She's
see
joined.
Chair Patel's name listed.
I believe we're all here.
Well, let's see if is she having technical issues? Last time she had microphone issues also. Chair Patel, can you send us some kind of signal that you're hearing us and that you're there?
She is having technical issues. Mm.
When we have a situation like that, I can see her name on there. And we're going to have the
Yeah,
roll
that's what
call
happened to
first.
me. I think last month is the version this happened to me where I had logged on. I think you all could kind of sort of tell I was there, but I had no audio and no video.
So are you there? Could it have been your agent
Well, it's a
logging
connection.
on?
Connection was there. A connection was there. I could hear you all. My box showed up on the screen, like Chair Patel's has showed up right now, and I could hear all of you. And I was communicating through the chat because the video and the audio for me just were not working. Um, but those were problems on my end. Those were not problems with the Zoom or the setting.
Yeah, I was just thinking that if, to get started, roll call would be to determine quorum. So the question hypothetically, since we haven't started, is she there? Somebody's on her computer.
Well, we have quorum, I believe, regardless.
Yeah, I was making a point.
Okay.
Dollars for the reconstruction and economic development of the. Colleagues, can you at least hear me?
There we go.
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, apologies. I don't know why my computer is not cooperating.
All right. There she is.
Unless I am here.
We can see you.
All right, Edie Shuttless, you could go ahead and start the meeting.
We've started.
Oh, I was not aware.
No, we haven't started. We're waiting for the chair.
No, we've started.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The time is 7:05 p.m. I am calling to order the regularly scheduled meeting for the month of May, which is June 17th, 2026. We're going to go ahead and do roll call and introductions, starting in numerical order.
Everyone, Commissioner Rob Gifford, single member district 2A02, roughly the westernmost part of 2A02 between 24th Street and Rock Creek Parkway, kind of winding up to P Street.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tripti Patel, she, her pronouns. I represent single member District 2A03, which is the bulk of the historic Foggy Bottom, and I am the chairperson of ANC 2A.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ed Comer. I am the Secretary of the ANC and Commissioner of ANC 2A04, which consists of the western portion of Foggy Bottom, the Watergate, the Kennedy Center, and Point South.
Good evening, all. I'm Commissioner John Dolan from 2A06. I'm the vice chair of the ANC, and my SMD covers the area of Pennsylvania Avenue, north in the west end, 2 blocks by 3 blocks.
Hey everyone, my name is Jim Malik. I'm the commissioner for 2A08, which covers the northeastern corner of Foggy Bottom, right where it meets the West End. The district wraps around Washington Circle and includes West End Place, Winston House, the Avenue, as well as the District House and Lafayette Hall on the GW campus. and numerous row houses between 22nd and 24th. I'm happy to be here and invite you to reach out to me if I can ever be of any assistance.
Hi, everyone. I'm Commissioner Youngstone. I represent 2A09. That includes a number of GW student housing facilities, St. Mary's Court, 2424 Pennsylvania, 2400 Pennsylvania, and Varsity on K.
Seeing that roll call and introductions have concluded, quorum has been established. We can go ahead and move on. Next item up on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Vice Chair
Patel?
Dillon, yes.
Yeah, if this is the appropriate time, I'd like to move that we rejuggle the agenda.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that last part of the?
I would like to move, I'd like to put forward a motion that we change the agenda back to the format it had been earlier, where the administrative matters are combined into one.
Second the motion.
Okay, any discussion on this? Okay, gentlemen, the reason why I split it up is the resolutions in question are going to probably end up being quite lengthy. We have other matters that we have to vote on. Plus, we have community forum.
So I anticipate your vote will be no.
That is correct. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, going ahead and calling this by division of the House, starting in numerical order.
Commissioner Gifford votes yes.
Chair Patel, no.
Commissioner Comer votes yes.
Commissioner Dolan votes yes.
Malik is yes.
Abstain.
Okay, the agenda is now amended. Okay, moving on to administrative matters. There will now be the movement of the 5 resolutions that were put at the end so that committee members could have enough time to engage back to the beginning. All right, under administrative matters, letter A, approval of ANC May 2026 regular meeting minutes. Commissioner Secretary Comer, have there been any adjustments or changes since you have presented this to the commissioners?
No, I circulated the draft minutes probably over a week ago, and I have received no comments.
Okay. So are you moving for the approval of the minutes?
So I move to approve the minutes of the May 2026 regular meeting.
Seconded.
All right. All those in favor could say aye or thumbs up, whichever
Aye.
you want to
Aye.
do.
Aye.
Due to the way I'm seeing the screen, I can't see or hear.
Aye.
The ayes have it then. All right, moving on. To the next item is consideration of changing the ANC's banking institution. This item is going to be under Commissioner Youngstone.
Yes, so this is something that we essentially are required to do, but we still have to hold a vote on. So Bank of America, who we currently bank with, is no longer is like stopping their relationship with OANC and is no longer accepting ANC accounts. So we're going to need to move to a new bank. I'm inclined to move to TD Bank just because I've heard good things about them, but we don't need to vote on specifically what the new bank is going to be. We just need to vote that we're going to change, and then I'll coordinate with sort of the other members of the executive committee to sort of handle that, hopefully at the end of this month, so that we can be on a new bank as of July 1st. If that's not available, we can sort of do it at the change from July to August. But yeah, basically, Bank of America won't let us bank with them anymore. We need to find a new bank, and we need to vote in order to do that. Commissioner Malik.
Yeah, just a minor point of information, and I only raise this because it's come up before in previous discussions. We do not have an executive committee. We have never created an executive committee. That doesn't exist unless we vote one into existence.
Okay,
So I just want to clarify that because that's come up before.
Okay, well, the The four people who hold executive positions are required to be present at the changeover. That's all I meant. The chair, the vice chair, treasurer, and the secretary. All right. Any other questions or comments from colleagues?
If you think you know the bank you want to move to, doesn't it make sense to approve that in a motion now?
I don't believe we need to vote on what
Okay.
the new bank is going to be. I believe we just need to vote on changing the bank. So essentially, I think the more important part is that we're voting to close our current account and move
Okay.
to a new one.
So are you making a motion that we move to leave Bank of America and move to a new bank?
Correct.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay, motion has been moved by Commissioner Youngstown, seconded by Commissioner Comer. Is there any discussion about this? Okay, seeing no discussion, I'm going to go ahead and call this to a vote. All those in favor say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 All right, that's passed by unanimous consent. Letter C, automatic clearinghouse enrollment for form to be reviewed. Commissioner Youngstown, this is also under you.
Yes. So this is just another sort of procedural vote that we're required to hold. This is one specifically to provide automated clearinghouse access to our bank account to OANC, mostly for administrative purposes and also so that they can provide us with sort of our regular allotments from the district government. Yeah, and just regarding both the previous resolution and this one, just so that we're clear, we need to include sort of the vote totals and the reasons for the votes on both of these in our minutes in order for ANC to consider us above board on this. Just flagging for its secretary.
That's the question. Is it sufficient to just say the vote was 6-0-0, or do I need to give individual names?
No, that's fine. 600 is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you include the total and the reason for the change.
Okay. Thank you. So are you making a motion here?
Yes, I'm making a motion for us to provide ACH access to ANC.
Second.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
That was John Dolan.
Okay.
All right, since the motion's been moved by Commissioner Youngstown, seconded by Vice Chair Dolan, is there any discussion on this? Okay, seeing no discussion on this, I'm going to go ahead and call this to a vote. All those in favor, just say aye or yay.
Aye.
Or raise your
Aye.
hand. Aye. Okay, motion passes 6-0. All right, the next item up on the agenda is a consideration of a resolution regarding the duties, conduct, and procedural responsibilities of ANC 2A. Commissioner Gifford, this is your resolution, so you can go ahead and talk about it.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I'd like to, just before I begin to discuss the resolution, go ahead and move its adoption.
Second the motion.
Been moved by Commissioner Gifford, it's been seconded by Commissioner Malik.
May not be recognized for discussion, Madam Chair.
I just moved it and for the record, so you could go ahead and start it. Usually, most times you start the discussion first and then move the item and call for a second.
But either procedurally, my understanding is either procedurally valid. Is that correct?
Commissioner Gifford, I've already stated that you've moved it and someone has seconded it.
Okay, so we're on debate now. Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a series of resolutions, 4 of them, each of which are connected and build upon each other. I did not anticipate having any resolutions at this meeting, but I ended up feeling compelled to. I am the newest member of ANC 2A. I've been here a relatively short amount of time. My first meeting was one during my short tenure. It's really been full of contentious activity, and my very first meeting was a meeting in which we spent, I think, nearly half an hour approving a simple change to an agenda. I wish that had been a surprise to me, but it wasn't, because this ANC has had over a long period of time a reputation for contentious activity. And candidly, I think that residents deserve better than that. I think that the people of ANC 2A deserve better than that. And I think that we can perform better as an ANC than we've been performing. I believe that the chairperson has a key role in kind of setting tone and tenor and in making certain that things are running well. And I believe it's important at this moment in time that we go ahead and state for the record our expectations of the chairperson of ANC 2A and the activities and behaviors in the way in which we conduct business. And so I have a resolution in front of you. I won't read the entirety of it. I will read the resolve clause, however. Therefore, be it resolved that effective immediately, ANC 2A will improve the overall conduct of its meetings, and that the ANC 2A chairperson will, at all times, 1, adhere to all provisions of the DC Code, 2, adhere to all provisions of the ANC 2A bylaws, including those pertaining to the creation of committees and task forces, 3, adhere to all provisions of the ANC 2A standard operating procedures, 4, adhere to Robert's Rules of Order as stipulated in DC Code, which includes recognizing and respecting the procedural rights of all commissioners, 5, preside impartially over commission meetings and not provide preferential treatment to one commissioner over another, 6, be truthful and honest with other commissioners, government officials, and the public, 7, properly convey the positions of ANC 2A and not utilize ANC 2A letterhead to convey positions which were not approved by ANC 2A. That concludes my comments.
And so that is the plan that has left. Brian, when you talk about the environmental student barrier that you see, what has this done to America's stature more broadly around the world?
Well, I think there are a couple of important issues that are enormous damage to our structure. Number one is that our partners in the region and throughout the world, our allies, we've led them through economic ruin over the last 4 months, and now talking to services going to fully out. So our allies, both in the East and globally, I think, really thinking twice about the part. And our adversaries also thinking twice about the right. Well, finally, there was
Mr. Dolan, you're recognized.
Yeah, in the absence of further discussion, can we call the question?
I have to take public comment. I was just waiting to see if any of y'all would say anything.
Okay.
Which Commissioner Gifford was to run that part, but that's okay. If there are any questions or comments about this from the public, please raise your hand and we'll promote you to a panelist. We will be limiting comments to a timer. Okay, seeing no further questions or comments from commissioners, seeing no further questions or comments from the public, I'll go ahead and call this matter to a vote by division of the House, starting in numerical order.
Commissioner Gifford votes yes.
Chair Patel is a no.
Commissioner Comer is a yes.
Commissioner Dolan is a yes.
Malik is yes.
No.
Okay, motion passes, 4 yeses, 2 nos. Secretary Comer, please vote, please add the name of each commissioner to each vote, please.
Say
Okay,
that
moving
again?
I said, Secretary Comer, please record the name with the vote.
Yes, I will do that.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next resolution, which is also by Commissioner Gifford. It is consideration of a resolution regarding requesting the DC Council action to address failures in the to convene special ANC meeting required by district law.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, I will go ahead and move adoption of the resolution before I describe it.
Seconded.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Gifford, seconded by Commissioner Malik. Floor is yours, Commissioner Gifford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The prior resolution that I offered was in part due to a specific situation which has recently taken place in ANC 2A. This resolution is as well. One of the problems that exists in current ANC law is there are a number of elements of the ANC Act for which there is no clear penalty or means of enforcement or next steps if elements of that act are ignored or not followed. And that is what has happened here in this specific case. I will go ahead and read this resolution for the benefit of my colleagues and those who are viewing this meeting. Whereas Section 14E2 of the ANC Act of 75 as amended governs the removal of an ANC officer, and whereas under Section 14E2, the removal of an officer shall be undertaken at a special commission meeting, and whereas such a meeting shall be called if at least one half of the elected commissioners request in writing that the chairperson call one, and whereas such a meeting must be scheduled by the chairperson to take place within 30 days of that request. And whereas on May 13th, 2026, 2/3 of the ANC 2A commissioners requested in writing that a special meeting be called to consider the removal of the ANC 2A chairperson. And whereas the ANC 2A chairperson, in violation of the law, refused to convene the special meeting by June 12th. And whereas the DC Code does not provide clarity for how to proceed with the removal of an ANC officer when the ANC chairperson refuses to adhere to the law and call the special meeting as explicitly required. Therefore, be it resolved that ANC 2A requests that the DC Council further amend the Advisory Neighborhood Commissions Act to provide that an ANC chairperson who fails or refuses to call a special meeting duly requested under Section 14E2 within the time required by law shall thereby be removed from the office of chairperson with the resulting vacancy to be filled in accordance with district law. Be it further resolved that Commissioners Malik, Comer, Dolan, and Gifford are designated the Commission's representatives in this matter. With that, I yield the floor.
Questions or comments about this from commissioners? Vice Chair Dolan, you're recognized.
Yeah, I mean, this is all relevant to the request that was made for the special meeting. And I'm just wondering, since the special meeting was never called, if Chair Patel, you could offer those of us who called the meeting and the people who are viewing this meeting the reason why you didn't call the special meeting.
No comment.
All right, well, continue.
Well, Commissioner Comer has raised his hand, and that there is going to be a time kept to the agenda.
I yield to Commissioner Comer.
I just like to say as a lawyer that I find it extremely troublesome that any commissioner who consistently tells us that we need to comply with the ANC law is willing to not comply with the clear language of the law and go forward with that. I find it appalling. That's all.
Any further comments before I turn to members of the public? Seeing no further questions or comments about this from colleagues. If you're a member of the public, raise your hand and you can be recognized, and there will be a timer set for the length of your comments or questions. Seeing no further questions or comments from members of the public on this matter, seeing no further questions or comments from colleagues on this, I'll go ahead and call this matter, call the question and do this by division of the House, starting in numerical order.
Gifford votes yes.
Chair Patel said no.
Commissioner Comer votes yes.
Dolan votes yes.
Malik is yes.
No.
Okay, resolution passes 4 yeses, 2 noes. Secretary Comer, please continue to record who's voted as a yes and who's voted as a no, please.
I will do that.
Thank you for your cooperation. Next item up is letter C, consideration of a resolution regarding the renewal of alleged violations of district law and applicable ethics requirements. And this is also Commissioner Gifford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yet again, I will go ahead and move adoption of the resolution prior to describing it.
Seconded.
Okay, motion is moved by Commissioner Gifford, seconded by Commissioner Malik. Floor is yours, Commissioner Gifford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For those in the audience, upon becoming a ANC commissioner, there's an actual swearing-in ceremony. There is an oath of office administered and taken, where you affirm that you will faithfully execute the laws of the District of Columbia. I took that oath, as did each commissioner here today. And unfortunately, in the case of this one specific law, I don't believe that the chairperson has chosen to faithfully execute that law. I believe there should be consequences when you knowingly choose to violate the law or not adhere to it, particularly in a position such as an ANC commission chair. And so I will begin reading this resolution. I will not read the entirety of it because the first 6 whereases are fairly similar to the last resolution that I had. I'm going to begin reading for my fellow commissioners and those in the audience at the point where it says, whereas the ANC 2A chairperson, in violation of the law, refused to convene the special meeting by June 12th, 2026. And whereas that refusal constituted a violation of the chairperson's oath of office. And whereas ANC 2A operates under bylaws which were approved by the Commission on November 20th, 2024. And whereas Article 3, Section 7 of these bylaws state that advisory neighborhood commissioners shall comply with the Ethics Act and regulations promulgated by the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability. And whereas those regulations include a code of conduct, and whereas that code of conduct requires adherence to all federal, state, and local laws and regulations, therefore be it resolved that ANC 2A shall inform BEGA of the chairperson's violation of DC law and the code of conduct and request that the agency take appropriate disciplinary action. That concludes my comments.
Questions or comments from colleagues about this? Vice Chairperson Dolan, you're recognized.
I would ask the same question as the last time. Chair, do you concede that in not calling a special meeting, you broke the law?
No comment.
I have a question.
Commissioner Comer, you're recognized.
Chair Patel, if one of your fellow commissioners in the ANC broke the law, broke a law, a provision of the ANC law, what would you do as chair?
I don't comment on situations that are hypothetical. You have to deal with the situation as it arises.
Would you condone a fellow commissioner violating the law?
You can't speak to a hypothetical situation when I don't have all of the facts.
So do you think there are situations that one could violate the law?
So Commissioner Comer, I'm going to make it very clear that I'm entitled to legal representation. This is not a trial.
I'm just trying to get your opinion.
And I have already stated that I will not address a situation that is hypothetical.
Thank you.
Commissioner Malik, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson Patel, is it acceptable to break the law if a person deems that there are no consequences for breaking the law?
Once again, this is not a trial. I am entitled to legal representation. Vice Chairperson Dolan, you're recognized.
In
And we're
the
going to
particular,
remind colleagues that we are going to hold the time. They're still members of the public, I'm sure, that may want to ask questions.
I'm sorry, point of process. I am looking at administrative matters, part 2 on the agenda that was published. It has a time limit of 50 minutes and there are no individual timings on individual agenda items. So I see a clock in the upper right-hand corner ticking down that says 3:24, but I don't know what that's based on because it seems that this section has time, but not the individual elements.
So how long would you like to spend on one resolution? Would you like to spend the entire 50 minutes?
Well, I believe under the rules, if we've not allocated time to specific agenda items, then the time of the section is allocated to all of the items under that section. I'd ask the chair to rule on that point of process.
Well, this meeting is scheduled to end at 9. Many of you have stated that you would rather not have lengthy meetings. So I'm trying to do my best to keep this meeting on time. We still have plenty to go through.
Point of order, I would ask the chair to rule on the point of process that was made regarding time allocations.
So as you can see, there are 5 resolutions, so it's about 10 minutes.
To continue my point of order, under what section of Robert's rules does the amount of time allocated to a section get evenly divvied up between the agenda items?
That is at the discretion of the chair when the agenda is created.
Is that the official ruling of the chair?
That That is.
I would refer that question to the assembly and ask for a vote to overrule the chair on that ruling.
Second.
All right, we'll go ahead and call the motion to a vote, starting in numerical order.
Commissioner Gifford votes yes.
Chair Patel is a no.
Homer is a yes.
Dolan is a yes.
Malik is yes.
No.
So motion passes. 4 yeses, 2 nos. Commissioner Cromer, as requested, please attach the names to the votes. Commissioner Malik, I believe you still wanted to ask your question. Am I correct in that? Or were you done?
I don't believe I have a question on the floor.
Vice Chairperson Dolan, you're recognized.
Thank you. Away from the hypotheticals, in this particular situation where a special meeting was called for, you have been chair for a while, you've had quite a bit of experience as the chair. What would the chair recommend be the solution to a chair that doesn't call for a special meeting when it's properly noticed?
No comment.
I'm not asking for your legal opinion, I'm just asking for your advice as a chair. What would you advise us, the members and the public, to do?
And I'm stating no comment. I am entitled to an attorney.
No, I'm asking just your opinion as to what the chair should do in that case.
Mr. Dolan,
Okay.
I've said no comment. Are there any further questions or comments from colleagues on the matter? Seeing no further questions or comments from colleagues, if you're a member of the public and if you have a question or a comment, please raise your hand and you will be recognized.
Are you ready?
Yes, Barbara, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just want to speak briefly to this general question and to advise the commissioners that on April 14th, 2025, I personally hired an attorney and filed a Bega complaint about various violations of laws and regulations by this chairman. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Barbara. Any further questions or comments from members of the public, please go ahead. You'll be promoted.
There's a member of the public with their hand up.
You've been promoted and you're recognized. The chair
Thank
for the-
you. My name is Luke Chadwick. I am a former commissioner for 2A05. And I would also like to share with the commission and members of the public that following my term, I too submitted a complaint to Bega regarding violations of the ANC bylaws pertaining to unauthorized comments for the chair. I hope that you'll all consider this. I have the same question to the chairperson now as a voter. In the Democratic Party, the chairperson has asked members of Ward 2 to vote for her for Democratic committeewoman. And I think the voters are entitled to know the questions that are being posed by the commissioners. Chairperson Patel, would you please explain to the voters why you did not call the special meeting and in what circumstances you might act as chairperson regarding violations of the law?
Mr. Chadwick. No comment. Thank you for your question. Any further questions or comments from members of the public before I turn back to the commission so we can call the question and go to a vote? Seeing no further questions or comments on the matter, from members of the public? I'm going to go ahead and call the question. We'll do this by division of the House, starting in numerical order.
Gifford votes yes.
Chair Patel is a no.
Comer votes yes.
Dolan votes yes.
Malik is yes.
Commissioner Youngstown, are you nearby? Okay, Commissioner Youngstown may have stepped away, so we'll record him as an abstention. So, resolution passes, 4 yeses, 1 no, 1 abstention. Okay, moving
Point of
on.
process, or point of order, I'm actually not sure which point this would be. I don't think that Commissioner Youngstone can be counted as an abstention because an abstention is an affirmative act. It's a choice to not vote. Commissioner Youngstone appears to be not present, so he should not be counted in the vote total.
I agree with that.
Actually, I do not agree with that assessment. Commissioner Youngstone is here. His screen is on. I don't know if he has stepped away.
Well,
Sorry, I'm still here. I might have missed something. What was being addressed to me?
Commissioner Youngstown, we just called the question on the consideration of the resolution regarding.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I stepped away for a sec. No.
Okay, so Commissioner Youngstown has now cast his vote, so it is, the resolution passes. It is 4 yeses, 2 nos. Commissioner Comer, please record the names with the votes, please. Commissioner Comer, I'm awaiting an answer from you on that.
oh yes, I will do that.
Okay, thank you. And then the last item under administrative matters is the consideration of a resolution regarding censure of the chairperson. This is under Commissioner Malik.
Madam Chair, Mr. Gifford had one more resolution.
Did I skip one?
Yes.
Yes, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
I apologize. Commissioner Gifford, oh, I see it. Okay, consideration of a resolution regarding the establishment of additional oversight procedures for ANC communications and governmental representation. Commissioner Gifford?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yet again, for my colleagues, I would go ahead and move adoption of the resolution at this time before speaking to it.
Seconded. Commissioner Comer can have that.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Gifford, seconded by Commissioner Comer.
What?
Floor is yours, Commissioner Gifford.
I'm sorry, Commissioner
I'm
Comer.
sorry.
I thought you seconded that.
No, I did.
It's Dolan.
I've not said a word. I thought you seconded it.
My apologies.
Mr.
Are-
Dolan,
Wait
Commissioner
a
Dolan is
second.
waving his hand. I think it may have been him, Commissioner Malik.
I seconded.
Was Dolan? I just want to know who the second was.
Dolan.
Okay, thank you.
Secretary Comer, is everything recorded properly before I yield the floor to Commissioner Gifford?
My understanding is Commissioner Gifford moved and Commissioner Dolan seconded the motion. Is that correct?
Okay. I believe so, from the brief discussion that the commissioners have had. So as long as they're both in agreement with that, I'll go ahead and yield the floor to Commissioner Gifford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the interest of time, I will have no additional comments other than reading the text of this resolution so we can move along as expeditiously as possible. Whereas Advisory Neighborhood Commission law authorizes each ANC commission to advise the DC Council, the mayor, and all independent agencies, boards, and commissions of the DC government, and whereas ANC 2A operates under bylaws which were approved by the Commission on November 20th, 2024, and whereas Article 2, Section 4 of these bylaws states that the Commission may designate any person to represent the positions of the Commission to other governmental bodies, and whereas ANC 2A is now separately requesting governmental action directly related to the conduct of the ANC 2A chairperson in refusing to schedule a special meeting as required by law. and taking actions that are unethical, illegal, and contrary to applicable laws and procedures. And whereas it could represent a conflict of interest for the ANC 2A chairperson to represent the position of ANC 2A on this issue. And whereas on April 28th and on May 20th, 2026, the ANC 2A chairperson has improperly communicated to elected officials on ANC 2A letterhead and using the chairperson title, the text of resolutions which were defeated by ANC 2A, and such transmissions are contrary to tradition and the policy of OANC and could mislead recipients to assume the resolutions were passed. And whereas it is important all positions of ANC 2A be fairly and accurately conveyed to the various arms of DC government, therefore be it resolved that effective immediately and for the balance of the current chairperson's term of office, the ANC chair or her designee shall not send any communication on ANC letterhead unless the communication is approved by the vice chair or secretary in writing, and that the ANC 2A vice chair shall be designated as the commission's representative to other governmental bodies, except when specified otherwise by a majority vote of the commission. Conclude the comments, and I yield the floor.
Commissioner Malik, you're recognized.
I just want to clarify for the record and for members of the public who may not fully understand what we're talking about here. Something that happened recently that we noticed is that resolutions that failed to pass the commission, as in they didn't get a majority of vote from the commission, were placed on our letterhead, carried the chairperson's signature, and were submitted to government entities as though they had passed. That is totally inappropriate. It should never happen. Those resolutions also were posted on our website as though they had passed. So it's a major infraction. It's a major deviation from how things are done. I think there are a lot of questions about the motives behind that. It's really serious. You know, the ANC doesn't have a lot of power. Giving our great weight to important issues is the core of our power, and we need to handle that responsibly and not suggest that we have taken a position when we have not taken it. So I think this is a very serious issue that has happened. So I fully support this resolution and thank the commissioner for bringing it forward.
Any further comments? Seeing no further comments from colleagues, I'll go ahead and turn to a member of the public. If you're a member of the public, you have any questions or comments about this resolution for Commissioner Gifford, please raise your hand and we will recognize you. Seeing no public members of the public having any questions or comments on this resolution, I'll go ahead and call the question and move this to a vote by division of the House, starting in numerical order.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Gifford votes yes.
Chairperson Patel is a no.
Comer votes yes.
Dolan votes yes.
Malik is yes.
Commissioner Youngstown,
I think it's time to close the vote. Commissioner Youngstown knows we're voting and he should be here.
well, there have been times that many of you have stepped away and have been afforded the grace. So I'm just making sure that we at least make sure that he is wanting to vote.
Sorry, yeah, I'll vote no.
Okay, the resolution passes, 4 yeses, 2 nos. Commissioner Comer, please go ahead and attach the votes to the names of the commissioners.
I will do so.
Thank you. And now to the last resolution under this agenda item. It is consideration of a resolution regarding censure of the chairperson. This is under Commissioner Malik.
All right, thank you very much. So I think over the course of the last four resolutions, which I again want to thank Commissioner Gifford for taking the lead on and drafting and bringing those forward and presenting them. I think we've heard a number of reasons articulated as to how we got to the resolution that I'm about to present. So with that said, I bring forward this resolution out of a sense of obligation to our constituents. And its goal, simply stated, is to protect the integrity of the ANC as an institution by setting a precedent that there are consequences when a commissioner, and especially a chairperson, knowingly breaks the rules or violates the laws that govern our behavior. Now, in 2021, Commissioner Patel asked the Office of the Attorney General what would be required to censure or remove an ANC officer from their position. In their official response, the OAG explained that for censure to occur, quote, charges must be preferred and a formal trial held before the Assembly of the Society or before a committee, standing or special, which is then required to report its findings and recommendations to the Assembly for action. Their answer goes on to state that the accused commissioner, quote, has the right to due process, that is, to be informed of the charge and given time to prepare a defense, to appear and to present that defense, and to be fairly treated throughout. So the resolution that I have brought forward tonight follows OAG's guidance as stated in that 2021 letter addressed to Commissioner Patel. And it would establish a fact-finding committee based on the following three charges. And Executive Director, if we could scroll down, I think it's on page 3 where we list the charges. I'm going to summarize them. Charge 1 is that during our April 15th regular meeting, the chairperson refused to recognize my point of order, but recognized Commissioner Comer's on the same motion, representing an intentional and illegal breach of Robert's rules. Charge 2, that during our April 28th special meeting, the chairperson claimed she hadn't heard my point of order, even though the transcript of that meeting shows that she verbally refused to recognize me at least 12 times, representing a misstatement of fact to this commission and to the public. And charge 3, that on May 13th, more than half of the commission requested in writing a special meeting to consider the removal of the chair from her office, and that she subsequently failed to hold that meeting within 30 days of the request as explicitly required by the law. Now, in the aforementioned 2021 letter to Commissioner Patel, the OAG describes censure as, quote, official public reprimand of a commissioner's conduct. And it says that it is, quote, a form of official discipline. So, notwithstanding the importance of the truths embedded in the resolutions we've adopted so far tonight, censure is, in my opinion, the only official, formal form of discipline that is expressly recognized by the Office of the Attorney General. Therefore, I believe it's essential that in addition to the actions that we've taken, we pass this resolution and begin the censure process. I need not remind you that this is far from the first time that an ANC2A chairperson's conduct has come under scrutiny, as was alluded to earlier. This has been an issue for a long time here. We owe it to our constituents to make it clear that we as a body will no longer tolerate this type of behavior from our leadership. So with that, I am asking you for your support on this motion to adopt the resolution, and I yield the floor.
Second,
Who seconded it?
Dolan.
Thank you.
Matter's been moved by Commissioner Malik and seconded by Vice Chairperson Dolan. Commissioner Malik.
Having introduced this, I'd like to start off debate with just a couple of comments. What are we doing here? I mean that seriously. What is happening? We have had many opportunities for our chairperson to explain a blatant and obvious violation of a legal duty. The law is very clear on this. Additionally, the chairperson has been included on multiple emails with the Office of the Attorney General where it has been made clear to her that this is an obligation, not an option, to call the special meeting. Additionally, on top of the 2021 letter that was issued to Commissioner Patel by OAG, there is a 2023 letter issued by OAG to Commissioner Patel in which the Office of the Attorney General explicitly states that the chairperson does not have the option to not call a special meeting when one has been legally requested. So what are we doing here? This is crazy. It is crazy. And it is embarrassing to our constituents. It is disrespectful to our constituents. I think there is no rational explanation for the actions that our chairperson has taken. And so in addition to the censure resolution that I bring forward, I would ask the chair to resign from her position as chair right now. As evidenced by this meeting, she has clearly lost the confidence of a majority of this commission. And the only reason she continues to operate in this role is because she refuses to do her duty under the law and call the special meeting for consideration of removal. So I think this is all very clear. I think it's very clear what's happening here. I'll yield back.
Questions or comments for Commissioner Malik?
I'd like to make a comment. Other than Chair Patel, I am the longest serving member of this commission. And when I first considered running for the commission, I was told by my predecessor that it was a very dysfunctional organization. And I was told that Chair Patel was a major reason for that dysfunction. During the past 3.5 years that I have served on the commission, I have seen many commissioners fade away because they found that dealing with the meetings was too emotionally difficult. I have seen many other people refuse to run because their concerns about the dysfunctions of how the commission are run were so serious they didn't want to deal with it. And it all revolves around Chair Patel. She can be charming, but we've reached a point where one violates the law, refuses to explain why, and consistently does that. I'll support Commissioner Malik's request to Chair Patel to resign as chair.
Mr. Dolan, you're recognized.
I think Rob and I raised to raise our hands for the same reason. I would also echo the comments of Commissioners Comer and Malik and ask that you, for the better of the ANC, and to resign at this point.
Commissioner Gifford?
I'll end up where I started, which is I'm the newest commissioner here. Recently, I had to collect signatures on a petition in order to become a commissioner. And the second thing I heard most frequently was, "Are you sure you know what you're signing up for?" That's a pretty toxic organization with a really bad track record and bad history. The thing I heard the most often was, "Yeah, I used to go to those meetings. I used to participate. I used to watch, but I kind of gave up following that ANC because it's dysfunctional and what's the point?" And I think it's sad when we have an institution that is discouraging people from civic engagement and public engagement rather than encouraging it. I showed up at my first meeting so excited. It was my second day as a commissioner, and I showed up my first meeting. And by the end of that first meeting, I was embarrassed to be a commissioner. And I think that ANC 2A deserves better. I think the residents of this area deserve better. I think we can be better. And I think that, it's unfortunate that we have a situation where laws are not being followed by those on the ANC, because that's exactly the type of thing that lowers public confidence in our institutions. Thank you.
Commissioner Youngstown, you're recognized.
Since joining last year, I've also been very frustrated at this sort of commission's seeming like difficulty to be able to move forward on things together. And I do believe some of this has to do with Chair Patel's leadership, but I also believe that it sort of rests at the foot of Jim Malik as well. I wish the two of you would just be willing to work and collaborate with each other, and focus a little less on your differences and focus a little more on just working together to serve the community. That's all.
Commissioner Malik, the time is up on this agenda item.
No, point of order. We amended the agenda to change this to a total allocation, not a line item allocation.
Okay.
So I want to respond to Commissioner Youngstown briefly, and I just want to say, Commissioner Youngstown, we've worked together. I respect you a lot. I think it's important that we don't draw a false equivalency. I stand up for what I believe in, and what I believe in is the truth and honesty and doing things the right way. And when I see those things not happen, I will call them out. I've done that since day one of this term. I stand by everything that I've said in private conversations and in public conversations. In this case, making a false equivalency would be a mistake. It would be refocusing the narrative on sort of two personalities who can't get along. This isn't an issue of two personalities who can't get along. In our April meeting, Chairperson Patel broke the rules. She refused to recognize a valid point of order. In the next meeting, she came out and lied about what she did in the previous meeting. And then she proceeded to blatantly violate her obligations under the law to call a special meeting for the consideration of a removal. So, it's not wrong. I'm not going to ask the question. I'm going to say it's not wrong to stand up for the rules. It is not wrong to insist that we do things the right way. It is not wrong to expect that our leadership at least tries to execute the rules. And we've consistently seen that that doesn't happen. So over the course of the last 2 years, I've tried to be sympathetic to your arguments about this, and I've tried to find ways to work with Commissioner Patel. But at the end of the day, I stand by every action that I've taken, and I think it's always right to do what is right, and it is always right to insist that we do the right thing.
Any further questions or comments so that I can move on to members of the public if they have comments? Okay, we have a member of the public that's raised their hand. Go ahead and get promoted.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. You're recognized.
Yes, this is John George, listening in as a member of the public that lives in 2A. I respect all of the commissioners who've voiced their positions this evening and appreciate those who are taking these bold steps to address this situation head on. This has been ongoing contention for years. And the members of the public, including myself, have been frustrated with how 2A operates and how it interacts with one another. And we believe the steps you are taking tonight are a step in the right direction. The end of my comment. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments?
You never know when you're gonna cut out.
Sarah, you've been promoted. You're recognized.
Thank Drippy for her service, but I think it is time for a resignation because it has to stop. It has to be able, the ANC has to be able to work. It has to be able to represent us. And I speak from an unrepresented part of the area. I live in Columbia Plaza, which does not have a commissioner. And I want to thank you, Tripta. You've been great for many years. Whatever, it's up. It's time. It's over. It's for the sake of the community, for the sake of the neighborhood, for the sake of the ANC Commission, for the sake of us all. I just think the polite and proper thing to do, instead of contending against your fellow commissioners, is to resign.
Any further questions or comments from members of the public before we go ahead and take a vote on the matter? Seeing no further questions or comments from members of the public on the matter, seeing no further questions or comments from colleagues on this, we'll go ahead and call the question, doing this by division of the House, starting in numerical order.
Commissioner Gifford votes yes.
Chair Patel is a no.
Commissioner Comer is yes.
Dolan is a yes.
Malik is yes.
Abstain.
Okay, it is 4 yeses, 1 no, 1 abstention. Please record it, attached with the votes to the names, please, Secretary Comer.
I will do that.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to the next agenda item. This is the community forum aspect. If you are a member of MPD and you are here, please raise your hand and we will promote you. Okay, seeing no one here from MPD, we'll go ahead and move on to the next agenda item. This is a report from the Office of Ward 2 Council Member Brooke Pinto. If you're here from the Councilwoman's office, please raise your hand. Hi, Hannah.
Can y'all see and hear me okay?
We can.
Give me 1 second. All right, sorry, my computer was doing something weird. I'll try to be quick, to keep y'all on schedule. So the council took their first vote on the FY27 budget last week. The second vote will be coming up on June 23rd. The chairman added an additional 400 million to the budget, mainly from funds that came from the city's federal tax decoupling that the CFO was not initially allowing us to spend, and by using 150 million from the reserves against the advice of the CFO. Those funds will be used to reverse many of the major cuts the mayor had proposed, things like childcare, pay equity fund for daycare workers, housing vouchers, access to justice, victim services, legal supports, and insurance coverage for people who don't qualify for Medicaid but don't have employer coverage, primarily DC Healthcare Alliance. A legislative update, the council member recently introduced new legislation to establish public safety facility modernization plans for our fire and EMS and police stations around the district. The bill would require the mayor to submit a 10-year master facilities plan for these buildings every 10 years starting The first one would be this coming December. We know that many of the fire stations and police stations around the city are in unacceptable shape. They're not healthy and efficient for our first responders, and this bill would aim to change that. Coming up, as I'm sure you all know, throughout the summer, we'll be having major events throughout DC celebrating the 250th anniversary of the country. The DC government has a helpful website that I will post in the chat. It's geared towards DC residents and businesses. It has a timeline of major events, federal and local, has traffic closures, transit updates. I think it'll be really helpful for everyone trying to get around the city this summer. It's 250.dc.gov, and like I said, I will also put that in the chat. Last but not least, DPW announced that they're collecting trash and recycling starting at 6 a.m. throughout the summer to try to beat the heat. So I highly suggest putting your cans out the night before, unless you're someone that wakes up very, very early. And that is it for me. If anyone has any questions, I am happy to try to answer them.
Thank you, Hannah, for the report. Any questions or comments for Hannah? All right, seeing no questions or comments from colleagues, I'll go ahead and ask you a logistics question. Is the budget still slotted to be the second and final reading on the 23rd as expected, or is it getting pushed back?
As far as I know, that second vote is going to be on the 23rd. I know they also have another vote on the 30th that I believe it's on one of the separate pieces. I know you probably know they have the BSA, the LBA, and then the local budget. The LBA is the Local Budget Act. So I know there is another vote for the 30th. I think it's specifically for the BSA, but that vote on the 23rd is still on the 23rd.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying, Anna. That was my questions for you. If you're a member of the public and you have a question or comment for the Councilwoman's team, please raise your hand and we will promote you. Okay, seeing none. Looks like you got off easy tonight, Hannah. We'll see you next month.
Sounds good. Great to see everybody.
Okay, bye-bye. Next item up on the agenda is a report from the mayor's team. If you are here from the mayor's team, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll promote you. Hi, Jamaica. You've been promoted. You just have to take yourself off mute.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Jamaica.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name's Jamaica Williams. I'm with the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services. I only have a few announcements for this evening. First, district pools are now open and residents are encouraged to take advantage of them as we move throughout the summer. The district government will observe the Juneteenth holiday on Friday, June 19th. So DPW will not collect trash on June 19th. Households scheduled for service that day will be serviced on Saturday, June 20th. Parking enforcement will also be suspended on June 19th and will resume after the holiday. And also DPI recreation centers will be closed on June 19th and will reopen on June 20th. The Capitol Pride Parade will take place on Saturday, June 20th, 2026 at 3 o'clock. The parade will begin near 14th and T Streets. And lastly, if you have any issues or concerns that need to be escalated, please feel free to email me. I'll put my email in the chat if there's any questions.
Thank you, Jamaica. Any questions or comments from colleagues for Jamaica?
Yes, this is Commissioner Comer. Jamaica, I understand there was a neighborhood walkthrough with neighbors and police around 23rd and L and Washington Circle. Can you report on what information you collected or learned from that walkthrough?
Yes, as far as the community concerns, or as far as the updates from DDOT?
Both. Particularly what DDOT had to say to the community concerns.
So I know that they are finishing up a report as far as due to the fatal hit and run, which once it's complete, it's basically a safety report. So once it's complete, I will have DDOT attend the ANC meeting to go over it. Also, M Street, they're working on improvements as far as with safety on M Street. As far as Washington Circle, I know that was an issue. So MPD, they said that they will have more presence on Washington Circle, because I know as far as the speeding and then also individuals not stopping at red lights. So it interferes with pedestrian safety as far as crossing on the crosswalk. And I know that speed limit stop signs was recommended, and just more stop signs was recommended. Also, with the red lights, camera enforcement was an option. So these are all things that I reported back to leadership, and working as far as with DDOT to see if some of these safety issues could be implemented.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Recognize Vice Chair Dolan.
So first of all, thanks to Jamika and the office for hosting this event. We had about 20 to 25 people show up, representatives from DDOT, Commissioner's office, Commissioners Malik and I attended. But most importantly, the residents really, really appreciated being able to ask somebody directly as to what was going on in terms of whether it was DDOT or the police. And I think the opportunity for the one-on-one between the residents and the people who were there to orchestrate the walk put government in a good light, which we all need these days. In my mind, it fostered two other things. One was the benefit of these side conversations. While we had a group of 20 and one person was primarily talking, there were all these one-on-ones around the side that can only happen in in-person meetings. And so I come back to just advocating for the benefit of in-person meetings. And the second takeaway, unrelated to traffic, was that there was a hunger and a real request from the people who attended this walk around, like, where do we get information? And I think that there's an opportunity for this ANC to take good advantage of the website and do a better job in disseminating information of things that are going on within RNC on that website. But primarily, again, thank you, Jamika, from me and from all the people who took the tour for your efforts in putting this together.
Thank you for attending.
Any further questions or comments from commissioners before I turn to members of the public on this? If you have a question or comment for the mayor's team, please go ahead and raise your hand and we'll promote you. Hi, Will, you've been promoted. You have to take yourself off mute.
Hi, this is Will Crane. Can you hear me all right?
Here you will.
Thank you. Hi, Ms. Williams. I understand that Juneteenth is a holiday, so there'll be no garbage collection on Friday, which is our normal day of garbage and recycling. Is there any reason why our garbage hasn't been picked up this week so far?
What's the other day that you receive pickup?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, so I'm gonna put my email in the chat, and can you send me
I'll
an
reach out.
email
Yes.
along with your address, and I'm gonna reach out to DPW.
It's the entire historic district, but I'll send you an email. I just didn't know if there was
So
something
that
that
your entire SMD, or is it your street?
throughout our entire neighborhood. I
Okay.
don't know what the SMD lines are, but it's generally the garbage, the public cans that are not part of buildings. I just wanted to know if there was something else, because it just, the entire neighborhood has been having trash issues. So I didn't know if there was another something that you had heard as to what the delays are. DPW hasn't responded.
Okay, so no, there's no other reason why trash should not be collected. But whenever DPW does not collect trash, can you please email me because I can escalate it so and I could also talk to their leadership to so residents could get consistent trash collection.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I apologize also for the missed trash.
Mr. Malik, you're recognized.
Jamika, can you just confirm that is it DPW that's responsible for the trash receptacles in like on the sidewalks? That is DPW?
It depends, but so DPW, sometimes it may be DGS, that's why. But if there's an issue, like usually I go out and actually look at it, but DPW, they actually have their name on all the trash cans that they're responsible for.
Okay, I mean this
And I
has
know
been
some are like MPS, so that's why like I'll have to see what trash can, then I'll know like I could contact MPS or I could
yeah.
contact DGS to flag it to get more consistent trash as far because you should be receiving your trash collection.
Well, as Will noted, this has been a problem. I've also noticed this for the last few weeks. And I mean, it's one thing to say we can contact you. You've been so helpful on everything that I've ever reached out to you about, and I really appreciate that. It's another thing to say we should do these 311 requests. We all know how those end up typically. This is like playing whack-a-mole, though. I mean, I don't think it's like we shouldn't have to go out every day and check all of the sidewalk receptacles to make sure that they're not overflowing with garbage. There's something wrong systematically that's causing that to happen. So if I would appreciate it if you would ask about that. I won't speak for my other colleagues. But I think, yes, we can contact you. But if I contacted you every time I saw an overflowing trash can, I'd be emailing you multiple times a day, and that's not sustainable. And we deserve and need better services.
But if you flag me, say like if your trash is missed or if you can flag because most likely like they're on routes. So if one is missed, then that route is missed. So as far as flagging that, and then also I'll be able to let leadership know. And a lot of times I can mitigate the issue where trash will be consistently picked up.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments for the mayor's team? Okay, hearing no further questions or comments. As always, Jamika, thank you for all the work that you do for us here in ANC 2A, and we will see you next month.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, next item up on the agenda is a report from the Aston Community Advisory Team. Our ANC 2A CAT appointee, Chris Labus, stated he couldn't make it. I don't know if Dr. Fleischer is here. If not, I will yield the floor to Vice Chairperson Dolan to give that report.
Yeah, I did attend the meeting, and I did hear also that Chris wasn't going to be able to make this meeting. I put out an email to the ANC commissioners, but I would highlight for the audience that the quarterly meeting focused on 3 issues. One was the report put out that there was no public comments of various forms. There needs to be some reforming of that, but there was no public comments at the time of that meeting. The second area of the meeting was that the building has a bit of a rat infestation problem. It's described as not atypical to the neighborhood, but to the extent people are living there, it's a problem, and it is both outside and inside the building. And building management is taking all kinds of steps to make sure that it's addressed. And then the third is just in terms of reporting, the quarterly report that CAT generates was reformatted. It makes it difficult to show a key metric in my mind, which is the average length of stay of the residents, of the participants. It has been getting longer. It's been broken out into voucher and no voucher parties, and leadership there is looking to figure out a way to reconcile past data and future data. The whole meeting took 30 minutes, and our next meeting is in September. Since I serve there as the Aston is in my SMD, I've received one input since then, but if there's others who have input to the Aston, please reach out to me.
Any questions or comments for Vice Chairperson Dolan on the matter from colleagues? Commissioner Malik, you're recognized.
Vice Chair Dolan, have you had any communications with the chair's designee to the CAT, former Commissioner DeCapo, who is currently still serving as co-chair? I just wonder if you've had any communication with him at all, and also if there's been any invitation for him to ever appear at these meetings and report back on anything related to the CAT. I don't think he's ever appeared since serving in that role.
So he was on the meeting, and he's the chair's designee. So I would yield to the chair to answer that question as to whether her representative should be encouraged to report back to this group.
The report back's always been done by the ANC 2A representatives.
I have a question. Has the chair spoken to Mr. DeCapo about the meeting and gotten a report back?
I did speak to former Vice Chairperson DeCapo, yes. And so we do speak, about what's, he debriefs me. I also watch the recordings myself when I have time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't been recognized.
Go ahead, Commissioner Malik.
Yeah, so I was also on the call. I don't think the co-chair, the CAT co-chair DeCapo, said anything other than to acknowledge himself at roll call, which is fine. Do we know why Dr. Fleischer isn't here? Was he invited to come? I think this is 2 out of 3 reports that he has missed since being appointed to this seat, if my count is correct.
I am not aware of why Dr. Fleischer has not been able to make it. He knows he is given the calendar invite that is managed by Addison CAT co-chair Sakina Thompson, and he is aware of when ANC 2A meets. Edie Shellis, I see your hand is raised. Is there a logistics question?
No, just wanted to let you guys know I haven't received anything, but I can also reach out to them, and as well as Lieutenant Taylor for also missing today. I can ask, and I can let everyone know.
Thank you for the clarifiers, Edie Shellis. All right. Commissioner Malik, did you still have your hand raised up?
Yep. My last comment on this would just be that I think I'm not trying to single anyone out here, but I think that it's reasonable to expect that our appointees come to the ANC meetings and report back to us. I think it's important that they're here to answer questions if we have them. And I think that if they're not willing to do or able to do that, I don't know what anyone's circumstances are, that there's a process in place to appoint new individuals to those roles. I feel there's a lack of communication from our appointees, including from the co-chair, frankly.
Vice Chair Dolan?
Yeah, I direct the chair to, there's an open question from the audience that I think seems to be directed to you.
The designee is that of the chair. So he had asked to stay on, and I was completely okay with that. So he remains my designee. Designee doesn't have to live in ANC 2A. We had a ANC 2A representative who had to move out of ANC 2A, but still wanted to contribute. I gave that flexibility and that discretion. Seeing no further question. Yes, Vice Chairperson Dolan.
May I ask that the chair consider replacing the non-resident of ANC 2A with someone who lives close by, who might be more interested in what's going on in that particular situation?
I'll consider your feedback. Thank you. Commissioner Malik, you're recognized.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate from our earlier conversation that the co-chair is the designee of the chair. So the co-chair of the CAT is currently serving in that role because the chairperson refuses to call the special meeting for officer removal as required by law. Because if she did call that and was removed, there would be a new chair, theoretically, who would appoint someone else. So I have serious concerns about former Commissioner DeCapo continuing in that role for that reason. I think this is all going into farce territory, frankly.
Any further questions or comments? As I would like to keep our agenda moving, colleagues. Okay. Seeing no further questions or comments from colleagues, if you're a member of the public and you have a question or a comment about the Aston for Vice Chairperson Dolan, I'll go ahead and recognize you. Okay, seeing no questions or comments from members of the public, I'll go ahead and move on to the next agenda item, which is a report regarding the DC Water Rock Creek main interception project. I can't, the letters are blurring, so I apologize. But I know it's I think it's an interceptor project. So if someone is here from DC Water, please raise your hand and we'll go ahead and promote you. Okay, we see several hands up. We'll go ahead and promote you guys to panelists. Thank you so much.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you so much.
And can you see me? Can you see me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And who's sharing the presentation? Okay, thanks commissioners for having us today. This is an update on the Rock Creek Main Interceptor high priority repair project that DC Water will be commencing in July. Next slide. So this is a brief agenda. I'm going to go through the project background. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague to go through the project schedule, and then we'll provide information how to stay informed, and then we'll have a question and answer. Okay, next slide. Okay, so the Rock Creek Main Interceptor is a 100-year-old sewer that's running along Rock Creek. This particular sewer was constructed in 1896, between 1896 and 1925. It's approximately 43,000 linear feet of 36-inch to 114-inch diameter of brick reinforced concrete pipe and concrete pipe with brick inverts. The Rock Creek Main Interceptor carries about 100 million gallons of wastewater a day from the Maryland DC border through the district, and then it discharges to B Street, New Jersey Ave trunk sewer at structure 35B. Routine inspections of the Rock Creek Main Interceptor identified major structural issues and the need for high priority repairs. Why are we doing this now? Failure of this interceptor will result in impacts to the environment, public health, including Rock Creek. Next slide. So on this slide, you'll see a number of pictures that we're showing from or the conditions of the pipe. So in November 2024, DC Water inspected the sewer main and found a prior crack that was identified in 2014. That's the top left picture, was further separating, missing bricks in the crown of the pipe, as well as it was approximately like 200 linear feet of missing bricks. We went ahead and re-inspected the pipe May 2025, which revealed additional structural issues that can be seen in the other images. Those issues include an exposed rebar, you have water infiltration, and this indicated that this sewer main needs reinforcing the need for immediate repair. So the interceptor does carry high flow. Typically on dry weather flow is about 70 million gallons per day, and wet weather flow is about 100 million gallons per day, which can continue to cause major damage. So DC Water will be repairing approximately 3,000 linear feet of 72-inch diameter sewer main and various DC Water structures on the critical path. Next slide. So I'll turn it over to my colleague, Pono Hansen, to go through the project schedule.
Thank you, Suze. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for your time again today. So my part of the presentation today will be focused on the project schedule and what you all as community members in this area can expect for this repair project. So the project schedule, as my colleague Suze was mentioning, we did some investigations, and over the past couple months, we've been preparing to enter the pipe and rehabilitate the pipe and repair it, essentially extending the pipe's lifespan. So we've been over this past fall through this spring, we've been preparing through various repairs and so that we could divert flow away from this pipe so it can be dry, so workers can safely enter the pipe and it can be rehabilitated. Over the next couple of months, we'll continue preparing the pipe from cleaning. There's some other conflicting projects that DC Water is performing down near the Georgetown waterfront. So once that is completed, this project will then move forward in starting. So right now we are forecasting this work to start around mid-July, and it'll take approximately a year through next summer, 2027. Through that process, we'll continue coming to these meetings to keep you all informed. Later in the presentation, we'll also share a QR code to redirect you to our project website that will have all the updated information there. I do want to direct you to the graphic shown on the right-hand side of the screen. my colleague had mentioned the repair length, the 3,000 feet, and that is indicated by that yellow highlighted section of the red line, and that's the Rock Creek main interceptor that we're looking to repair. Over the next couple series of slides, I'll walk you through the different staging areas that we will have equipment or vehicles in order to facilitate the repair. Next slide. So as I'm going through these slides, really where I want to draw your attention to is really that the red polygons or the red highlighted boxes or triangles or shapes in that right-hand side figure to help you orient where our staging areas or where our equipment might be during this repair project. So the biggest area that our equipment and that will take up is at Pennsylvania Avenue and 26. It is that grassy area, and we've been working with national parks very closely throughout this process to make sure that we have the proper measures in place to, one, repair this and perform this work safely, but also keep in mind the impact to the communities and the environment. Next slide. Our other staging area, as you go north, it's right next to the Embassy of Qatar. We'll be using a small little grass area on the outside of the fence. One thing, as many of you know, there is a trail that runs along this area that will be open. If we do need to move equipment around, we'll have flaggers and crews just to make sure that we're being cognizant of trail users in this area. Next slide. Continuing moving north, where you're seeing in this photo is right behind the Francis Dog Park. We'll have a staging area there. Important to note here is that you'll still have access to the large playing field there, as well as the dog park. So no interruption to your normal routine there. We'll have some equipment. All of these areas will be fenced off to protect the public away from the equipment and the crews that are working in those areas. Next slide. This is along the hill slope, and this is one area that we have to get to this area because you can kind of see in the bottom of that right-hand photo is there's a manhole there, a sewer manhole, and we need that manhole in order to enter the pipe. So this specific area will be closed. So this kind of the steps to go closer down to the trail during the creek will be closed during this work. So just being cognizant, and this is directly adjacent behind Francis Pool. Next slide. And then as we move south, we do have some, like I mentioned, entry points into through these sewer manholes to get into the pipe. So this is south of K Street. We'll be accessing some manholes in the road. So we are working with DDOT to make sure that we have the necessary permits in order to temporarily close those lanes there. We will also be using the staging area here. It's going to be off the road, but this will be kind of an area that will stage additional equipment that doesn't need to be directly adjacent to the manholes for the pipe repair. And then the final area is just at I Street and 27th. So similar to the previous slide that we had shown, we'll be working with DDOT to obtain the necessary permits for this area as well. So real takeaways, we're asking, please adhere to there will be some posted DDOT no parking signs around these areas. So if we can be cognizant of that and adhere to that. DC Water is working really closely with MPS through this process because a lot of the asset does run through national parks. So some of the areas that we are staging is national park property. But again, the big takeaway here is we're committed to minimizing the disruptions throughout this repair process. Your drinking water is still safe. It's not impacted by this project. So we want to make that clear that's your drinking water is still safe. Our typical work hours will be Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And on occasion, we'll need to potentially work on Sundays, night work, or weekends. and that'll vary just depending on project progress and also weather. And then as my colleague wraps up, we'll have that QR code, but that's the best information or place to find information about the project. And as well as we'll have some contact information on the final slide if you have more questions about the process throughout the duration. And I'll turn it back to my colleague Suze.
Thanks, Prona. So how you and the public can stay informed. So the point of contacts for the project are listed here, myself and my other two colleagues, as well as a QR code that you can scan to access the DC Water main page, highlighting the project details throughout the project duration. Next slide. Then we'll move forward with any questions.
Commissioner Malik, you're recognized, and then Commissioner Comer, I see you next, so. Commissioner Malik, you have to take yourself off mute.
Thank you very much for the presentation and thank you for being here. A couple of questions. So first of all, are there any expected impacts to the Francis Pool and pool users?
No. Access to Francis Pool should not be interrupted.
Well, how close is the staging area? I mean, is it going to be like noisy, dusty? Is there going to be like construction equipment like right next to it? It's a tight space back there, so I'm trying to visualize what that situation is going to look like.
I will ask my colleague Kenny, are you able to respond to that?
Yes, good evening, everyone. So in response to that, we will be working closely in that staging area. However, based on our current approach, we are doing everything we can to minimize any impacts to the public, including keeping noise impacts to a minimum. There may be some construction activities causing noise, but we will do our best to reduce that. The greatest impact at this time would be the use of generators and equipment of that sort. So there will be some noise producing equipment, and then dust will be kept to a minimum.
Okay, I mean, would they be gas generators? Would people at the pool be subject to like fumes?
No. So they will be diesel generators, but we will keep them far enough away from the pool to not have any kind of odors or noticeable impacts from a smell standpoint.
And then my second question would be whether or not there have been any conversations with DGS and DPR about the planned renovations for Francis Field and whether or not this would impact or delay those in any way. And I want to be clear, I don't think there is a specific timeline for those renovations yet, but I do want to ask if you have talked to them at all about how that might come together.
We have reached out to DPR to coordinate this project with them and any other ongoing projects that they have, but we have not received input or a response from them yet.
Interesting. Okay, I yield. Thank you.
Commissioner Comer, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this presentation. It's very interesting. Can I ask that you send me a copy of the presentation directly? I'm in ANC 2A04, Commissioner Comer. Currently, I see you're doing a lot of work on 27th Street south of K Street. Currently, right now, DDOT's in the midst of doing work that is supposed to be improving the traffic signals and pedestrian access in that area. Are you coordinating with them so that your work schedules do not overlap? That's question number one. I'm going to give you a couple other questions. Two, you seem to have a staging area to the west side of 27th Street, south of K Street. That area is right now seems to be a waste pit for DDOT and other agencies to store old concrete barriers and other junk. It's got broken down fences and it's an incredible eyesore. How well will you maintain that area as a staging area so that hopefully maybe it'll be less of an eyesore? 3, my building and my SMD has another major DC project going on along the Potomac River, where we have a 12-foot, 12-story high crane and major concrete and drilling work being done for the sewage interceptor tunnel. What is the will you be coordinating? And my building is going to be in the middle of these two projects. Will you be coordinating work activities with them in terms of noise and construction? You know, we have people going from 7 to 7, 5 days a week. You're saying you're going to go Saturdays as well. It's going to be, I understand it's an important project. I don't want to delay it, but I want to make sure that, you know, people are adequately informed as to what's happening and why. And that to the extent there are major, they're doing explosions 2 or 3 days a week underground. I'd like to understand how this project relates to the Potomac Tunnel project. Okay, because they're both being done by DC Water, and how well you're coordinating with that.
Thank you for your questions. I'll tackle the first one first in terms of DDOT coordination. Yes, we are coordinating with them. Those areas that you had mentioned, they need to provide us and approve the permits that we apply for. So to answer your question directly, yes, we are coordinating with DDOT on those areas. For your second question in regards to the area that is a eyesore, as you mentioned, south of K Street, I'm going to ask my colleague Kenny to talk about that and what we're doing there.
Yes, in regards to that staging area, we're still working through final approval for use of that area as a staging area for the construction project. If and once approved, we would anticipate taking ownership of that area and the extent of where our equipment is staged. So we'd be, you know, cutting the grass and maintaining it from that standpoint. We don't have any plans to move any of the Jersey barriers or any of the other existing material there. We would not be the correct party for that, but we will do the best we can to keep that area maintained and clean and minimize any eyesore to the public.
As you're doing that, could you keep in contact with me so I can inform the neighborhood what's going on? 27th Street is an extremely congested area because of the backups of people getting off the Potomac Freeway and other things. And you know, is there any process for the neighborhood to comment on your activities about that?
Yes,
and we can talk offline about that if you want.
Yeah, the answer is yes, and would encourage you to reach out through our website. There will be the point of email address that you can reach out to provide any feedback or comments or even questions that you
let me ask you, can you reach out to me as the ANC commissioner for that area to let me know what's going on and what your process is?
Sure, our team will be in touch.
I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
And then to your last question about the Potomac River Tunnel, both of these projects are going to be moving and advancing in parallel with each other. They should not have impact on each other's construction schedule.
So where does the Rock Creek Interceptor end up?
The flow that goes through this pipe ends up at our Potomac pump station, which is along the Rock Creek Parkway / Whitehurst area. which
Is
is
that the brick building at 27th and K?
no, that's our Rock Creek pumping station. So that's a different facility owned by DC Water.
Because people in my neighborhood have complained about sewer smells. Is that possible that it's coming from this project and not the Potomac Intercept project?
We don't anticipate it being tied to this project because we haven't started any work yet. Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't want to take up more time of everybody else, but if you reach out to me, we can talk online, but we will have questions. Obviously, the project needs to be done. We don't want to see a spill like they had up in near the Beltway and the Potomac River. So thanks for providing us with this information.
Appreciate your guys' time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before you're dismissed, let me see if members of the public have any questions or comments for you. If you have any questions or comments for DC Water about this project, please raise your hand and we'll recognize you. All right, seeing no further questions or comments, we have a question from a member of the public now.
Hi, this is John George. I don't want you to repeat yourself. I had to cut in and out, but I just wanted to ask in your presentation, does this project address what's happening at Pennsylvania Avenue at Rock Creek, which is adjacent to the old Salvation Army building, which is now under construction?
I believe that's a different project.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if you want to email us your question. We can
Yeah,
make sure that
will
we
do.
have that response.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Okay, seeing no further questions from comments from members of the public, from colleagues, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and then the last item under this topic of community forum is commissioner updates and public comments. Commissioner updates starting in numerical order.
Thank you, Chair Patel. In the interest of time and because I've already consumed considerable time, I'll defer from an update at this time.
Chair Patel has no updates.
Commissioner Comer will have no updates other than to say that the naming of the Kennedy Center has apparently been modified, although nobody can see it because there are still sheets of paper or whatever sheets blocking the name at this point, but it was a matter of great interest to members of the community what's been happening there. Thank you.
Commissioner Dolan, 15 seconds. I will echo my comments from when the mayor's office, Jamika, spoke. The walkabout was the best thing I've done since I joined the ANC in terms of dealing with constituents and seeing how we can play a bigger role in being responsive to them.
No comments from 2A08, no updates from 2A08, but I do want to thank everyone who spoke today, all the members of the public who showed up at this meeting and shared their opinions on the issues before us. We appreciate you, or I appreciate you being here.
No updates.
Okay. If you're a member of the public and you have a public announcement, raise your hand and we'll go ahead and recognize you. Okay, seeing no one from the public raising their hand, we're going to go ahead and move on to the last agenda item. This is matters before the zoning commission. So if you are here from 2100 M Street, please raise your hand and we'll go ahead and promote you. Commissioner Dolan and Commissioner Gifford, we're on the next agenda item. Did I miss something?
No, I just have a super quick question regarding this agenda item.
What's the question, Commissioner Gifford?
And it's really for Commissioner Dolan. It looks like you brought this forward. I'm noting it's good to see the team again. I'm noting a 97-page document attached. I want to make sure I understand what's the business order here, Commissioner Dolan. I didn't actually see a resolution. Maybe it was attached here. I want to just get my head around what we're trying to accomplish in the next 10 minutes on the agenda, because we got 100 pages and I didn't see a resolution.
Commissioner
Sure,
Allen,
Patel.
you're recognized. Yes.
Thank you. I was hoping to also frame this discussion in response to anticipating questions like Commissioner Giffords. This is an issue that was presented at our April ANC meeting. There was a mini presentation made there. There was a 1-hour presentation made by the parties at the West End Library that was attended by members of the public and ANC commissioners. I've put out numerous emails on this over the last 2 months to kind of make myself available. And I know that the party here has tried to make themselves available should they have any questions. I've had no response yet. And so I was hoping that rather than going through the type of shingle and the setbacks and things like that, what we're looking for to achieve here in response to Commissioner Gifford's question is, do we approve them moving forward on the construction of this building, removing the eyesore in the neighborhood, bringing retail and employees to the neighborhood? And I was hoping that would be a rather quick conversation. So in that context, while you're pausing, I would make a motion that we approve the builders moving forward with the construction of this building.
I'll second that motion in order to bring us to the discussion.
Colleagues, we need to have them do their presentation first.
I saw my hand is still up. Then I would ask that the people presenting do it in as efficient and as quick a manner as possible, because I think all this information has been made available to the public at public meetings and to commissioners in various email distributions in the past. So please be quick with your presentation.
Understood. Thank you. Chair Patel, if we should proceed, let me know.
Yes, you can. Just got a little bit of eager beavers. So just wanted to manage the expectations and like the discussion can happen after your presentation so they can ask questions. So please go ahead.
Great, thank you. So David Abbotable with Goulson and Storrs, Land Use Council here on behalf of the applicant. This is an application before the Zoning Commission for a voluntary design review to allow for the redevelopment of 2100 M Street Northwest into a new commercial office building with some ground floor retail. As Commissioner Dolan noted, we initially shared the plan with the ANC a couple of months ago, and we held a community meeting where we spent, I think it was an hour or more, presenting the plans in detail with a model in person, the whole 9 yards. We filed the zoning application, and that's I think what was the 97-page document that Commissioner Gifford mentioned. We are presenting this to the Zoning Commission at a public hearing next month. And what we can do very briefly as we can, much more briefly than we did last week at the ANC, we'll give a brief update to the project, a brief overview of design, and then what we're asking for from the Zoning Commission. So I'll turn it over to Matt Bonifant from BXP, the developer, to briefly introduce himself, the purpose of the project, and then Tony Marchese, the architect, to briefly present the design.
Great. Thanks, David, and thanks everyone for having us here tonight. I'm going to make my comments very brief, and Dion, I'll just sort of look to you to flip through the slides. There's sort of two main points here that I would make as we kind of flip through. The first is that what is part of this redevelopment project is a 350,000 square foot trophy office building that will be constructed beginning in 2028 in anticipation of our lead tenant, who is the law firm Sidley Austin's move in at the natural expiration of their existing lease. So a key takeaway just at the outset is the timing of the project. While we're before you here in 2026, the construction start isn't until 2028 with the delivery of 2031. There is retail anticipated on the ground floor, as well as about 330,000 square feet of office. And in just the interest of time, I'll turn it over to Tony Marchese, who is the principal at Picard Chilton, who is our design architect. I think you all are very familiar with BXP's history, not only in the district, but specifically within this ANC, developing trophy office buildings. And we're really excited to be able to expand that experience here to the corner of 21st and M. Tony, are you there?
I am. Thank you very much. Commissioners, thanks so much for the opportunity to give you a brief overview of the project and the design inspiration and our proposed path forward. Dion, in the interest of moving quickly, can you move directly to the images of the existing site, which is just past, actually start with the map, just so I can orient the commissioners. Keep going. Keep going. There. Just go back one. Sorry, Dion. There. So just to put the site into context, if you look at the lower left-hand side where the star is, the site is at the confluence of 21st Street, M Street, and New Hampshire, fronting Duke Ellington Park, which in our view is a real gem within the city. It creates a wonderful open space and a green space. But probably the most important point to make to you this evening to help you understand the project is at the southern end, the building that we're proposing to demolish and replace is frankly an eyesore in the neighborhood, and it is empty. So it's kind of a missing piece in what could be a wonderful public space. And our vision is to completely transform that site into something that contributes to the neighborhood and contributes to the park. Next slide. And so just some of those views where you see the park in the foreground, but you also see the existing building, which was formerly the building that housed Social Security, is empty, boarded up, and really doesn't contribute anything to the neighborhood or the street life. And then, Deanne, I'm going to ask you to go right to the rendering so I can show the commissioners the transformation of the site and our vision for the design. And as Deon's doing that, the only other thing I will reinforce is we've done some very, very purposeful study of the neighborhood, how to be a good neighbor, how to fit within Washington, D.C. And that vision looks like this. And so you're seeing the new building as proposed. This is the front prow, we call it, which fronts on that intersection of M and 21st. And the first thing you'll notice is a beautiful building that reinforces the street front, holds the edge, active retail on all sides, a lobby entrance on 21st Street, but also a connection through the block from the New Hampshire and M Street entrances as well. Next slide. Just a view of the building at night, reinforcing this idea that the groundscape will be active retail. Next. And then just a series of images that give you a better sense of the building as we go around. This is a view essentially from the park, seeing that frontage facing the park, the way the building steps down from left to right to match the scale of the adjacent hotel. Again, holding the corner with a kind of corniced form, and then focus on the ground plane where you see an active street front again, replacing what now is a kind of an empty zone within the city. Next slide. A view of it at night. Keep going, Dion. And then we've pulled a bit further back, so you're seeing the park in the foreground, just to get a better sense as to how the building will fit within the context. We're matching the requirements in terms of Washington, D.C.'s height limits, etc. And then just a few more images of the building design at night, and then continue. And the final view, keep going, Dion. The final view gives you a sense of what the building will look like on that M Street corridor looking back. And again, at the risk of repeating myself, this idea of bringing a very rich pedestrian atmosphere into the neighborhood and into the park. And then Dion, if you could just go to the slide that gives a quick outline of our requests on the voluntary design. So as part of the design, the voluntary design review, we are asking for relief on a couple of issues. The first one being a 45-degree setback adjacent to the western edge of the site, a penthouse setback to create some functionality up there. Front build to relief adjacent to Call Your Mother's Bagels to create that secondary entry that I mentioned, and to allow for some visibility of their storefront. And then because the building is setting back on the south and on the west from the hotel and the southern office building by a fairly large degree, we have created some courts. And so as a result of sculpting and setting the building back, we've created 6 courts, and we're asking for relief on 2 of those. So I think that gives you a quick overview of the design aspiration, our approach, and our ask relative to the voluntary design review. I'm happy to go back and go into any other detail if any of the commissioners have a question, but thank you for your time, and certainly thank you for your consideration.
Great presentation. Commissioner Gifford, I recognize you.
Thank you, Chair Patel, and again to the team. It's good to see you again. I appreciate having the opportunity to attend the public meeting that you had and to see the project. I think when I saw you last, you were a day or two away from a meeting with yours truly to just kind of go over and review some of the issues from a kind of good neighbor perspective. Can you summarize and characterize for me how those conversations have gone?
Yeah, Commissioner Gifford, I'll jump in. I would characterize those conversations as very productive. We've gotten the letter of support required for the zoning, the VDR process. And so there are going to be a number of construction coordination related conversations that will continue as the design evolves and a general contractor is brought on board and site logistics are further determined. But we've got a very good working relationship with the folks there. So that's been very
fantastic. I appreciate hearing that. I have no additional questions.
Commissioner Mallett, you're recognized.
Okay, so thank you very much for the presentation. I'll apologize in advance to Commissioner Dolan, who was very thorough in asking us ahead of time about this, but I do have one question line that I feel I need to ask. So this building has been vacant for how long now? 5 years? Longer, shorter? Do we know?
Longer than 5 years. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head.
Okay. Do you know if it currently has a rat problem?
I don't know for certain, I guess is the way that I would answer it. But as soon, so we purchased the building at the end of 2025, and we immediately implemented our property operations. And so we use a company called American Pest that services the building, I think, weekly. So, and actually, that's one of the items that we've been coordinating with the hotel to make sure that we're handling anything that could come up on either side of our shared walls.
Okay, good. I mean, that's where I was going with this. Commissioner Dolan earlier, I don't know if you guys were on the call, referenced some issues that the Aston has been having with rats in their building. The question was raised as to whether or not those could be in the currently vacant building. So I was concerned about that and wanted to ask about what, if any, mitigation steps are being taken there now. But I would also be concerned as the existing structure comes down, is there a mitigation plan for preventing those rodents from just dispersing to the neighboring buildings? I mean, we have vulnerable population at the Aston. We need to make sure that that situation that they're having with rodents doesn't get worse. So I guess in addition to speaking to the hotel, have you been working with DHS and coordinating with the Aston to make sure that that's all worked out? And is there a plan in place to make sure that those rats don't just go there, basically?
Yeah, so I will answer it this way. Since we implemented the pest management service, I've been to the site probably a couple of dozen times, if not more. I've never seen a rat there. So I guess my response would be that I'm not sure that there's a problem that we need to specifically solve as it relates to construction, but it's something that our property team is focused on and will continue to manage right up until construction begins.
Okay, well, I would encourage you, if you have not, to coordinate with DHS on that and to take this really, really seriously, because it's important that there are no disruptions to the operations of that facility. It could really hurt people if that happens. And I think if the rodent situation there gets worse than it currently is, there's the potential for that to happen. So it's really, really crucial that we look at that. So maybe you've had those conversations, maybe not, but I would encourage you to do so.
Appreciate that. Yes.
Any further questions or comments from colleagues before we turn to members of the public on this matter?
Yeah, I have tried to raise my hand.
Sorry, Commissioner Comer, before you speak, I wanted to additionally address Commissioner Malik's comment. There are also requirements that we'll, of course, comply with when you demolish or raise a building. There are measures that you take. You have to get a certificate from the Director of Public Health that you're taking proper measures to deal with rodents as you're doing so. So we'll, of course, do that as well. So even during construction, there will be actions taken as well.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Commissioner Comer.
Okay, I'm just trying to, so that I can have an accurate record for the minutes. You said that you're coming before the Zoning Commission for voluntary design review. When will that take place?
The hearing is scheduled for July 27th. Is that right, Lee? Yes. So it's Monday, July 27th is the public hearing.
And what other approvals, if any, do you need from the Zoning Commission?
That's the approval. The voluntary design review process allows the commission to give us flexibility from those areas of the zoning regulations that Tony identified in his presentation. So it's an all-in-one approval. Voluntary design review is a relatively new creation of the zoning regulations. It was created in 2016, and it's essentially a variation on a PUD. There's no exchange of public benefits or additional height and density, but what it allows the zoning commission to do is to give you flexibility from certain parameters of the zoning regulations in exchange for sort of a detailed site plan review. So everything we're asking for, we ask for the zoning commission at that hearing on July 27th.
Are you asking us to approve the building and concept, or are you asking us to approve details of the design review?
we would like the ANC's support for the application. You all can, of course, let the commission know what you'd like to do when you do that. But we would just love your support for the application.
Okay, thank you. So let me ask this way: if we say we think it's an important building and urge the zoning commission to work with you and expedite, managing it and finishing the process, is that sufficient?
I think simply saying we support the application is sufficient, but certainly encouraging them to act quickly wouldn't hurt.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions or comments from colleagues before I turn to members of the public on this?
I did see a question in the chat from a attendee. I think I was asking what ports are for what in your vernacular. What does ports mean?
Sure. So courts are in zoning parlance. It's when you create an open space that isn't a rear yard or a side yard, when you voluntarily set back a portion of the building. And so we didn't really get into the details of the massing, but the way the building's been carved back on the sides and in the back, we've created some of these open spaces. And what the zoning regulations require are certain minimum widths or minimum areas, depending upon the height of the court. And as Tony mentioned, 4 of the courts comply, but a couple of them don't quite meet the minimum requirements just because of the unique way we sculpted the building. But I think what's important to remember is a court is always voluntary. So you're already voluntarily setting back. We could fully build in those spaces. It's just we're pulling back, not the full width that's required. Again, it's a function of the height. We can certainly happily go into the detail if people want, but I didn't want to bore you all with zoning geekery at 9:23 at night. Though longtime viewers of this ANC know that I'm always happy to do that.
Seeing no further questions or comments about this, Ms. Long, I think you said you can just send it to our ED and they can share it with the public. Seeing no further questions or comments from members of the public, seeing no further questions or comments from members of the commission, I'll go ahead and call the question. And do this by division of the House, starting in numerical order.
Commissioner Gifford votes yes.
Chair Patel's a yes.
Commissioner Comer is a yes.
Dolan is a yes.
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 Okay, passed with unanimous consent. Thank you, gentlemen, for presenting this and addressing all the questions and concerns around this.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a wonderful night, gentlemen.
Good night.
And ladies. Thank you. Seeing that there's no further business on the agenda, we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. The time is 9:25 p.m. Our next meeting is Wednesday, July 15th, 2026 at 7 p.m. and the location is virtual. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.